Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the third part to What If Goku Had Doomsday's powers. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Goku continues to look insouciant and focused. The stare down even freezes those that watch on from the sidelines, and Cell then continues. I have been blessed with your special genes. At the grace of Dr. Gero, he's also granted me the abilities of your closest friends to give me ultimate power. What's even better is that with those androids behind me that you've kindly defeated, I will become even better, Cell shouts. Goku rushes forward and punches his body, still in his base form. He's just testing the waters here, but is quickly shown the caliber of fighter he's facing. He is then hit with a massive blow to the body, launching him into the sky as if he's been shot out of a cannonball. Goku grinds to a halt, then begins using Kaioken ×5. From this range, he shoots off several of his crystal protrusions. Unlike 18, Cell has no trouble evading all of these incoming shards of crystal. Goku then doubles his power with Kaioken ×10, soaring back down toward Imperfect Cell. The two beings clash, and this time Cell doesn't look as confident and nonchalant. Goku swings straight ahead for an elbow, but Cell throws his body out the way as fast as he can to evade. He then falls back a few meters back in a swift retreat, and the intense battle continues. Whilst Goku is using Kaioken ×10, the two of them can fight like equals. Goku takes hits from Cell, but his body heals from any of the blunt trauma, so he returns to peak condition very quickly. Nevertheless, Goku doesn't want to just have a sparring match with this ugly being. If he wants to fight and defeat Cell, he's going to have to go a step further. Doubling his power once again, he begins using the insane power of Kaioken ×20. The key signature that the others can get from Goku is insane. Raditz and Nappa have never seen this level of strength from Goku in battle. Whenever he's using levels of Kaioken of this level, he's training on his own and just trying to increase his body's resilience. Goku darts towards Cell, knocking the wind straight out of him with a kick to his stomach. His high-speed advance lifts a massive trail of dust behind him, and he follows with several more attacks. Cell shoots forward his tail at Goku, but he dodges and in the same motion swings out his arm to launch numerous crystals from his elbow. They slice past his adversary's skin and impale him in many places, then Goku pulls back his hand to launch out another wave of crystal shards again. There are further impalements and Cell is left bleeding from these various wounds. Cell grunts in pain but then lets off a maniacal smile after about a second or so of silence. In this moment, Goku reduces himself to his base form to save some of his energy, but the shards of crystal start dropping out of Cell's healing flesh. He has the same healing factor that both Goku and Gohan do. This is scary. He really does have all of their best attributes. Keep breaking me down and my body will slowly evolve and become better than it already is, Cell announces, cracking his knuckles. Goku just shuts him up with a punch straight to his face and his beatdown continues. However, he can't do what he needs to actually defeat Cell and bring him down. No matter how much he beats him up and breaks him down, he can still heal, return to normal and fight again. Just like him, as his body is healing, is also adapting to the damage it receives. Soon Goku's edge over him is not as apparent. In Kaioken ×20 he is still given the edge, but it's nowhere near as substantial as it just was. Therefore he seeks to end the fight right here and right now. Shooting back with all of the force that he can, he begins charging up his Kamehameha wave. The pulses of energy and ki exuding from him as he does this makes even the far away spectators steady themselves. After a few seconds of charging this energy wave, he lets the power of it all loose. Cell is hit by the blast before he can think about retaliating in some form and is engulfed by it completely. Goku continues flooding his ki into the power of this blast, and it shoots off into the sky at a tangent to the earth. The area that Goku shot his Kamehameha out is flattened. A massive trail is left behind of where his blast just was, and he feels like he's done the job. He should have from how hard he tried. Much to his dismay, however, Cell is stood there gravely injured. Both of his arms have been shredded off in the wave of energy, and his torso has been broken down a frightening amount. To them, he resembles a literal living corpse. After the few seconds that Goku stands watching, shocked, his body heals back to its ordinary form. His arms and hands are grown back from nothing at all, and the smile then grows on his face. In a flash, he zooms to the side and arrives at Android 17, lifting him up with his tail. Still injured and barely conscious, he can do nothing to resist. The android is absorbed by Cell, and there is a bright spectacle that blinds the onlookers. Goku is annoyed at himself for just watching Cell make this spontaneous movement, and he is upgraded to a semi-perfect state. Seeing this transformation, Goku doesn't see a need to revert back to his base form. With such a fighter like this that has gotten even stronger, he needs to make sure that he's strong enough. Before he can even move though, a wave of crystal shards are thrown right into his body. Many of the crystal shards pierce his entire body, leaving holes in him. Goku coughs out blood from these grave, agonizing wounds. Crippled and profusely bleeding, he stumbles to one knee before receiving a powerful kick to his chin. His head and entire body for that matter is thrown up and back before Cell catches him with one hand and slams him into the floor. The ground quakes from this impact and Goku sees that he must grow stronger. This is uncharted territory for Goku. He's never used further levels of Kaioken. Therefore, he doesn't know what it's going to do to his body. Kaioken times 40, he shouts, stacking on this increase to further double his strength. The increase in strain from Kaioken seems to be exponential or at least beyond linear in nature, and so he does feel something here. Flying right towards Cell, he can't even throw an attack before receiving one himself. Cell lets loose on Goku, throwing punch after punch and kick after kick. He gets beat around like he's a dummy that can't even throw back. Whenever he's given the fraction of a second needed to think and throw, it's already too late. A punch is already hurtling toward his face. Cell follows up with 2 direct uppercut-like punches to his gut, making Goku cough out blood on the final one. These attacks are crippling, forcing him down to his one knee before receiving a straight kick to his face that launches him across the grasslands behind him. Covered in his own blood, he is then assailed with several of Cell's crystal protrusions. Goku tries to retaliate and use that same technique, but when he uses it, it's simply no good. Cell steps side to side to let the crystal shards fly by his arms, leaving him unscathed. Goku ends up finding that in this fight, not only has he been healing rather well from Cell's attacks, but his Kaioken strain is nearly gone completely. It felt pretty much the same for the first few of Cell's devastating strikes, but steadily lessened. I know you're just like me, so you have quite the durable adaptive body, Cell says, before driving his hand through Goku's whole body. So I'll just get rid of you before you cause me any problems, Cell declares, before ripping his hand from his torso. Goku, with wide eyes and an unmoving face of shock, shouts from the pain. He then falls to the ground and can see his own blood almost pouring out from him. He's practically left in a pool of his own blood. Cell, then looking up to Goku's friends that stand before him, just smiles. We have to try and do something to help Goku, Krillin calls out as Cell stares them down. What can we do? Gohan then asks him. We can get rid of that android there. If he can absorb that android's body, he'll probably grow even stronger. At all costs, we have to stop that happening, Raditz announces. Arriving at the android in Super Saiyan, he aims to destroy it only to receive a massive burning projectile through his heart. Goku, seeing this with hazy vision, tries to scream in rage. In reality, it only comes out as a rasp. His vision and consciousness is fading at alarming rates. He can barely keep his head lifted. Raditz flops dead to the floor. Without Goku's adaptation abilities, he can't even hold a flame to Cell's unmatched power. Nappa, powered by his overconfidence, focuses on the bio-android as well. In Super Saiyan, he is above Raditz and believes that he can have a much better shot. However, even with these seeming advantages, it's of no use. Cell just grabs Nappa's head and repeatedly smashes it into the ground. In seconds, he is no longer responsive. Goku watches on despondently as his friend is just battered completely. With a massive hole in his stomach, he curses his body for keeping him alive through agony. On the other hand, it may be a gift in disguise, a chance for him to save his friends. Goku raises and somehow remains on his feet. Cell just watches on frozen. The animation from his body is almost sucked right out of him. The hole in his body slowly closes and blocks out the sky behind him. He then begins shouting, searching for power deep within, Super Saiyan. Before there was no need, but he was ignorant to what Dr. Gero was capable of. He needs that power. After charging his ki, Goku soon unlocks it, the power of Super Saiyan. After fighting and constantly getting injured, his body is also receiving Zenkais as he battles. Therefore, his power level is no longer at the 110 million it was at before, but it's now much higher. What he notices is that the strain on his body is practically non-existent. Through evolving to handle Kaioken, his body has grown more durable and resilient. As a result, Super Saiyan feels like nothing to him. It's not like Mastered Super Saiyan. He can feel that there is some strain there, but it's easily manageable. Clashing with Cell, the tides of the battle have not been turned. Goku wildly swings for a punch only to whip over Cell's ducked head. He receives 2 punches to the gut followed by a cleanly landed right hand strike hurling him tens of meters away. The gap in strength is still there. Even with the power of Super Saiyan, semi-perfect Cell is too much for him. Go, everyone go now, Goku shouts to his friends. There's no use for them to stay here. With him and Cell being so powerful now, even collateral damage could take their lives. The Z fighters begrudgingly follow his order, retreating. Goku, continuing to fight Cell, cannot bridge the gap. With this Super Saiyan form, it still grants him inadequate power. Therefore, he takes a gamble. Could his body handle the strain of Super Saiyan with Kaioken put together? It was something he thought about achieving after unlocking the form, but never asked King Kai about if it was safe. I mean, how would King Kai even know anyway? It's not like he has that transformation for himself. There's no other option though. Bracing himself for the agony that he knows is surely to come, he clenches his fists and activates the power of Kaioken. Immediately the ground cracks under the force of this activation. There is the sound of flesh shredding and Goku coughs out alarming amounts of blood as he screams in pain. He even falls to a knee from the pain. With such power coursing through his veins, it's just completely destroying his body's flesh. Seconds later though, he can feel his body mending itself back together. The pain starts to slowly but surely fade. Kaioken times 3, he roars, entering another state of true torment. This level of conviction is something Cell could only dream of. In his eyes, Cell sees nothing but a crazy person. When he was tasked with defeating Goku, he did not have this in mind. The will to save his friends reigns paramount over all sense of discomfort and agony that he may feel. A true hero, a true saviour. Goku, now with a form superior to even Super Saiyan 2, is slowly learning to tolerate it. The strain is still immense, but his body is not actively destroying itself to uphold the form. Goku, now with a form superior to even Super Saiyan 2, is slowly learning to tolerate it. The strain is still immense, but his body is not actively destroying itself to uphold this form. Powerfully hitting Cell, he lands a clean shot and does well. In quick succession, he releases a wave of hard crystal shards at his body, with many passing straight through his body entirely. Goku's assault is intense and he wants to go as hard as he can to take advantage of this form while he can. The pain in his body is still there and his body's adaptation isn't extremely quick. Semi-perfect Cell is no match for Goku. The beatdown is similar to Super Vegeta pummeling him in canon. Soon enough, he is covered in his own blood and Goku sees no need to continue the fight now. He knows that if he absorbs that other android, he's toast, therefore he seeks to destroy the being whilst he still can. Solar Flare, Cell shouts, blinding Goku completely. In this same motion, he absorbs 18 and becomes his true perfect self, Perfect Cell. The silver being coated in glistening crystals just smiles as he feels this new power coursing through his veins. Goku, falling out of Kaioken times 3, can't believe that this fighter has only gotten stronger. After a large Zenkai that he gained from his body getting used to Kaioken times 3, he finds that Perfect Cell is stronger than him, but rather marginally at that. Goku couldn't even think of defeating Cell with just Kaioken times 3, but if he could push just that bit further, he could win. It would be agonizing and he could possibly die, but it's the only option he has left. Cell possesses a certain swiftness and power now that he struggles to contend with. Goku tries to land a punch on Cell when he sees him directly in front of him, only to see the perfect being swerve past his punch and kick him into the sky. Darting straight after him, he lands numerous more punches cleanly and precisely on Goku's body, followed by a wave of crystal shards that pierce him. Cell knows that Goku can just heal from those shards with ease, he's merely trying to add insult to injury. I told you I was the perfect creation, even with your abilities I can do everything you can and more, Cell shouts. Well, I have something else that you don't have, I have determination. I know that I can beat you, Cell. Can you? I'd love to see you try, Cell says, regally lifting his arms with utmost confidence. In this same moment, Goku begins charging his Kamehameha wave and Cell reacts in kind. In seconds, their blasts are fully charged and they harshly collide in the midpoint between them. For a second or two, the blasts remain at this point, but Cell just gains the upper hand. It slowly pushes Goku's blast back, but he then decides to use Kaioken times 6. Doubling his strength instantly, the power of his blast substantially increases. Cell no longer looks as confident as he once was. His blast is properly getting pushed back. Soon enough, there's nothing he can do. His Kamehameha fragments and breaks into nothing but globules of floating energy, leaving Goku's attack to hurtle toward him. He is engulfed by the blast and even his healing factor can't save him. His flesh is broken down at the cellular level until the perfect being known as Cell is no more. Goku has triumphed over him, saving his planet. Cell is no longer able to regenerate and return, ending the Cell saga right here. Androids are revived and Android 16 was never killed, therefore they just removed the bomb from inside him and with some rewiring of his brain he's good to go. What comes along now is the 7-year time skip. Raditz and Nappa are of course revived using the Dragon Balls. Here, Vegeta becomes immediately aware as to how far he's been surpassed by literally every Saiyan. Raditz, a fighter that he used to be able to defeat with just a single hand, surpasses him. In Super Saiyan, the gap between them both is incredibly large and he just can't compete. This sends him almost into a frenzy to begin with. He just can't beat these fighters but then decides to start training with them. Since he starts off as weaker, he will grow more from the spars that they have. This could let him gain the edge if he plays his cards right. Vegeta ends up having a child with Bulma, Trunks, and Goten is also born around this time. He has the same abilities as Gohan, being born with a high power level and having a healing factor. During this time, all the Saiyans unlock the ascended forms of Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3. The levels that they reach during this time is mental, but Goku still takes the crown as the strongest by far. He is so strong that he can handle even the likes of Super Saiyan 2s of his friends in his base form. After his fight with Cell, he repeatedly broke down his body, and as it healed itself, he received a larger Zenkai. This just furthered the gap between him and his friends. The World Tournament comes along and Gohan is way weaker than he should be. He was never tasked with fighting pretty much any proper foe and never entered the hyperbolic time chamber. As a result, he's nowhere near as strong as he could be. He strugglingly utilizes Super Saiyan one of the first times he's done so in his life. He is then assailed by Yamu and Spopovich, who sap him of his energy. Flying off, the Saiyans being Goku, Vegeta, Nappa and Raditz fly right after them to see what they're up to. Arriving at Babadi's spaceship, Krillin notices Spit flying right at him. He is turned to stone and Dabura looks to return to the ship. Before he can do so, Goku almost appears in front of him and blocks his way. The stare down strikes fear straight into Dabura, who thinks twice about what he's just done. Turn him back, Goku demands, with Dabura still frozen in place. Instead of replying, he just shoots the Spit straight at Goku. The Saiyan isn't affected by this whatsoever, zooming out the way before it can touch him. Throwing a single punch to Dabura in his base form, he leaves him gasping for air on his knees. He can barely even keep himself together, the pain is so much for him. "Tell us what's in that ship," Goku says, pointing back. Dabura lifts his hand, scared for his life. He reveals everything that he knows, and Goku thanks him before entering himself. Inside this ship, they take down the foes being Yakon and Pui Pui to arrive at the final level. Here there is no Dabura, but then Vegeta's mind is taken over. After all this time being spent inferior to the other Saiyans around him, he wants to prove himself. Invigorated by the power handed to him by Babidi, Majin Vegeta is born. The arrogant Saiyan wants to take on all of his previous training partners to prove them wrong. Raditz, being the weakest out of the group, decides that he should be enough to take him down. They both are transported elsewhere and Raditz just looks at him with disdain and contempt. "Why did you choose this path, Vegeta? The mighty prince reduced to the foot soldier of some insect-like magician," Raditz calls out, looking down on him from another rock gizzard. "Be quiet. The way you live, the way we've lived has made us Saiyans weak. We are warriors, not family men. You hold on to too much and you are soft. Now that I've given everything up, I have no inhibitions. My power is boundless," he claims, shouting to the sky with vigor and rage. He then looks back to Raditz with a crazed smile and their battle begins. Both transform into their respective Super Saiyan 3 transformations and soon begin to slug it out. Raditz, taking the first punch from Vegeta, sees that he has gotten stronger. The Majin power has given him a power boost. He perceives the next punch heading his way and promptly evades it to leave himself free of injury. Vegeta then gets punched right on the margin on his forehead. The force behind the hit is sent throughout his head and upper spine. The battle-hungry warrior readily masks the pain, shaking his head to continue. He almost throws his body forward to attack, only to have his leg grabbed by Raditz. He spins around the prince violently before thrusting him into a rock gizzard, launching him through two before he eventually gets tangled up in the third. Raditz descends to meet eyes with him before Vegeta rips himself out. He grabs Raditz by the neck, driving him through an entire rock gizzard before hitting him in the face. Before Raditz can then be propelled away from him, the Saiyan Prince grabs him by the head and just headbutts him. Vegeta likes this upper hand that he's given himself from the art of surprise. He looks to carry this trend on, but Raditz reasserts his dominance. He lands a well-timed and precise punch to his solar plexus. It's almost as if he can feel his organs caving in from this crazily powerful impact. The impact from this strike causes a shockwave to be released, and Raditz then continues to showcase his obvious superiority. Soon enough, Vegeta is beaten so badly that it doesn't look like he can continue. Slamming into the ground from a hit from Raditz, the fight is nearing its end. "This was never the path, Vegeta. You may have no inhibitions, but we can have love in our lives while still remaining warriors. Isn't that what this is all about? We fight for others, you fight for your people, those that you cherish, those dear to you," Raditz continues to explain. Vegeta doesn't reply and just continues to lay there. At this same point in time, Majin Buu has awakened. He looks quite naive and childish, but soon shows everyone the powerful, dangerous warrior that he is. His healing factor is akin to Goku's, but even better. When Goku will irreversibly die, Buu just reforms and returns to normal. Nappa ends up being the fighter to face Buu with his massive beard because of Super Saiyan 3. Destroying the likes of Buu easily, it just seems impossible to get Buu to properly disintegrate and perish. This is where Goku steps in. Entering his own Super Saiyan 3 forms, Nappa can only imagine how strong he becomes when that happens. The power he has is mental and far eclipses his own. With a fully powered Kamehameha wave, Majin Buu is no match for him. His body hardens, then vanishes, flying away with the wind. Majin Buu is gone, and this leaves Babidi with just Majin Vegeta and Dabura to work with. Goku just kills Dabura with a wave of his crystal shards, leaving fatal wounds in his body. With a single shard impaling Babidi, his frail body cannot handle it, he soon succumbs to the wound. Buu would give Nappa a hard time, but the gap between Buu and Goku was just too large. He was no match for him in the end. With Babidi gone, Vegeta is liberated from his control. He doesn't die here and the planet isn't destroyed. The time between Dragon Ball Z and Super rolls around and the crew continue their training. Vegeta enters a low period shortly after, guilty about the lives that he took at the World Tournament. However, since they've been revived now, he doesn't seem very bothered about it shortly after. During this time, Raditz wonders how Goku can use Kaioken and eventually persuades him to teach it to him. He had the hopes of combining it with Super Saiyan to form new, more powerful transformations, but soon realises that it simply isn't that easy. After eventually training up to Kaioken times 20, he is so surprised that Goku could just tank that state and battle on with ease. Super Kaioken would be a death sentence to him. He'd definitely explode trying to use it. Beerus wakes up and soon finds his way to King Kai's planet, where Raditz and Goku are training. Both are using heavy weights on their bodies and training in their base forms to get stronger. Once the god arrives, both of them are unaware of his existence. Goku isn't the most respectful fighter either, leaving King Kai terrified of what Beerus could do. Beerus asks of the Super Saiyan God and sees that there is nothing here for him. However, he notices the tails that both Saiyans have. In Dragon Ball, after Goku's tail was forcibly removed, it just grew back again. He learned to just not look at the moon, but has also spent this time mastering the form with Raditz and the other Saiyans. They already have mastery over that state, and when they use it in tandem with Super Saiyan 3, it really maximizes their power. A power multiplier so large is really useful for them. Beerus then decides to spar Goku just to see what he's made of. Goku throws out a few crystal shards, but all of them don't meet the target. He just flips right over them with his arms remaining snugly behind his back. The Saiyan in Super Saiyan 3 shouts and advances, punching Beerus' forehead. He daringly takes the attack right on, letting it hit him. A moment after, he lifts his fist up for a punch straight to his chin. After taking so many punches to his person that have harmed him, Goku's body has adapted greatly to that power. After the first few years of his fighting life, he was soon unable to be killed by those strikes. This is even when he had never been killed by them in the first place. Soon after though, they became easier and easier to handle. When facing stronger opponents, they feel weaker to him. His physical attacks just do him little harm. Goku shakes this impact off and goes in to attack him again, receiving a tap to his neck in the process. At this point, his cannon self would have folded and lost, however he remains on his feet and smiles like he's still ready to battle. This makes Beerus twist his head slightly, inviting Goku to fight on. Goku continues to try and hit him with the likes of sweeping kicks and overhead punches, but none connect. The God of Destruction can just move with a certain flow and speed that he can't handle. Taking the third hit that is significantly more powerful than the first two were, Beerus expects Goku to be defeated. However, his body's durability is much greater than its strength. He drops to a knee but gets back up until Beerus finally ends up with a punch onto his abdomen, winding him. Both fighters are transported to Earth with Whis, and he continues to look for this Super Saiyan God. They end up summoning Shenron, and Goku is the central warrior that is imbued with this divine power. Super Saiyan God Goku is born, the first Super Saiyan God in numerous generations. He is given a slimmer form and slowly rises to meet Beerus in flight. They don't know how strong Goku's become because he is now using God Ki, a power that they can't sense. From how strong he was beforehand though, they can imagine how unfathomably powerful he is now. How does it feel to be a god? Beerus inquires, inspecting his new gleaming appearance. Great, I knew I couldn't beat you before, but now I just might be strong enough, Goku realizes, wrapping his tail around his waist. The two fighters engage in battle and trade blows for a time. Beerus is just letting him get a feel for this form, neither are fighting at their best. Good, you're making me use a good portion of my power, Beerus reveals, whilst Goku awkwardly laughs in response. I haven't been going that hard either, to be honest, Goku announces, making Beerus infuriated. What, am I not grateful of your full power, he asks, slightly angry with his attitude. Sure you are, Goku says, before firing up his ki. His raging fire-like aura cloaks his body and he is now using 100% of his strength. Even with Goku going all out, he can't manage to take down Beerus. Both fighters end up in the upper atmosphere and Goku begins to see that his body doesn't actually need air at all. With his breathing rate calming, it doesn't really do much to him. There isn't a strong need for him to descend and get more air in, he just feels as fine where he is now. This fight has been entertaining, but I want to bring this to an end. Your power was mildly interesting but inadequate. For that you must pay with your life and with your planet. His notorious Beerus ball is created and launched down to Goku, who catches it before it can reach him. He soon realizes he can't push this ball back and sees the earth slowly but surely getting bigger in the view behind him. This ball of ki can't get any closer to earth, he must keep it as far away as humanly possible. Once again, Goku is left with only one option to power himself up further. Kaioken, he shouts, doubling his strength right away. Suddenly, Beerus feels the power resisting his blast jump up dramatically. Kaioken times 3, Goku shouts with everything that he has, pouring all of his newly given power into this next push. Even with a 3 times multiplier, this Beerus ball is still too much. In the end though, Beerus lets the Beerus ball vanish. "You fought well, Saiyan. You've shown me more than I expected to see from you," Beerus says, with his attitude changing completely. So that will conclude the third part of What If Goku Had Doomsday's Powers. Please tell me something you liked about this video or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.